Haie sind gerade in Ägypten eine ganz besondere Attraktion. Zehntausende von Tauchern fahren eigentlich nur wegen den Haien hin, um Haie mal zu sehen, mal zu erleben. Aber diese ganze Idylle ist im Dezember dieses Jahres explodiert. Die Bild-Zeitung und viele andere haben sich des Themas angenommen und Ägypten ist im Ausnahmezustand. Man kann es nicht anders beschreiben, was im Moment dort passiert. Das spottet jeder Beschreibung. Man nimmt Tauchanzüge, füllt die mit Sägespänen, zieht sie hinter Motorbooten hinterher, um Menschenräuber, Menschenfresser anzulocken. Man ist im Moment dabei, die Strände vom Sinai mit Hainetzen zu schützen. Da werden wir ganz speziell nochmal drauf eingehen. Aber ich darf vielleicht an der Stelle einfach Dr. Kessel bitten, mal dieses Thema, was überhaupt passiert ist, mal kurz darzustellen.
Thank you. I'm going to give you the best account of the incidences of the Egypt shark attacks in 2010 that I was able to gather from all the various reports. If we look at the world as shark attack by region, we can see that America has the most shark attacks reported and confirmed shark attacks, then followed by Australia, and Africa as a region is third in the world for reported and confirmed shark attacks. If we then look at Africa and break it down further, we can see that Egypt is fourth in the ranks of the countries within Africa for shark attacks. Now, up until 2009, in all recorded history, there was only 9 reported shark attacks, and 1 of these was a fatality. Then there was an additional, went too far, an additional attack in 2009 resulted in a fatality, and the more recent attacks in 2010, one of which resulted in a fatality. So since records began, there have only been 3 confirmed fatalities in Egypt from shark attacks. The actual events on Tuesday the 30th of November, there was 2 Russian women attacked in short succession in Namba Bay. Then slightly to the north, on Wednesday the 1st of December, 2 men, 1 Russian, 1 Ukrainian, were attacked in short succession. And finally, on Saturday the 5th of December, 1 German woman was attacked in Garden Bay, and that resulted in a fatality. There are several species in the Red Sea region that could be implicated for these attacks, and the resulting investigation came with the following results of the most likely species involved for these attacks. So for the first 2 attacks on the Tuesday, largely from photographic evidence and witness accounts, they believe an oceanic white-tip was responsible for these attacks. The second attacks on a Wednesday, the most likely species implicated for these attacks is a mako shark, most likely a short-fin mako shark. And finally, the attack on the 5th resulting in a fatality has been attributed to an oceanic white-tip shark. So, as a result of this investigation, there's also several proposed causes for the reasoning behind these attacks. Firstly, there was much talk of dumping of sheep carcasses and animal carcasses by trade ships in nearby waters, attracting these sharks from their natural environment into these nearshore regions. As far as we're aware, there's absolutely no conclusive evidence that any of this dumping occurred. Overfishing of nearby reef environments has also been blamed. The idea is that the natural prey resources of these sharks have been depleted, resulting in these sharks to try and find another food source. Now, both of these species of sharks implicate the oceanic white-tips and makos, are very highly migratory species, very wide-ranging. In my opinion, it's very much more likely that these sharks would simply move to another area if their local resources would be depleted than to completely change their feeding strategy. There was also talk of illegal shark fish feeding in the area, bringing sharks in, associating humans with food. This is, again, completely unconfirmed. There's many shark feeding operations that operate daily around the world, and the number of instances is extremely low to none of sharks attacking humans in these circumstances. And also, I haven't included on this slide, global warming has also been implicated. I would also say that's got no evidence behind it whatsoever. So of these proposed causes between the attacks, which of these can be proven conclusively? Well, the answer is none of them. Absolutely nothing can be proven conclusively. And I'll move on to Dr. Gruber for this.
Man muss sich vorstellen, wir wissen also wirklich nicht, warum es passiert ist. Aber weltweit haben sich, wir haben mal aufgehört zu zählen, 200 Experten, in Anführungszeichen, zu Wort gemeldet und haben gesagt, warum es so ist. Einige davon haben so laut gesprochen, dass es auch zu tatsächlichen Wirkungen führte, Auswirkungen, über die wir gleich sprechen werden. Aber was wirklich wissenschaftlicher Fakt ist, was wir wirklich wissen über diese Unfälle, dazu haben wir Herrn Professor Gruber gebeten, einfach mal dazu Stellung zu nehmen.
Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very happy to say that I've returned to Germany for the first time in 40 years, but I'm sad to say my German is sehr schlecht. So please forgive me, but I brought along one of my former students who's actually German, and if you don't understand what I said, she'll explain it to you. She probably knows more than me anyway. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit about the history of shark attack and what we can really understand are perhaps the causes or how we might be able to predict shark attacks. This is probably one of the first well-recorded shark attacks. It's an actual occurrence when the Lord Mayor of London, as a young boy of 14, was attacked in Havana Harbor and subsequently lost his left leg at the knee. And yet, as an orphan and as a shark attack victim, he went on to become the Mayor of London. And the interesting thing here is as this painting was painted so that he could hang it up in his orphanage and say, listen, I've been attacked, I'm an orphan, but I became something and never give up. So I only look at this, I only ask the question, is shark attack always a horrible thing? In this case, it worked out quite well. But let me get on to some of the factors. As Steve showed you, shark attack is a very, very rare occasion. I'll show you some more data in a moment, but he showed you this 1550 to present, all the shark attacks that were ever recorded. And as you can see, in the last decade, the total attacks in the world for 10 years, with many, many billions of people using the ocean, was only 703. And the total known was about 48. So about 100, less than 100 people get attacked a year, and less than 10 are eventually killed. Next slide, please. So here, this will give you some further statistics about some of the causes of death. And as you can see, the probability of getting attacked by a shark is in the millions. And that's simply by dividing the number of shark attacks in the United States by the population. A better way to look at this information is to use what's known as a risk analysis model, something like the insurance actuaries do when they decide how much to charge you. And no risk analysis has been done. And I say if you really want to get some information about shark attacks, this would be the first place to go, to really understand what the true probability is. And of course, it'll come out infinitesimal in any case. Next slide. So, what is a dangerous animal? Are sharks dangerous? Well, mosquitoes kill about 2 million people a year, and you can see these numbers just like I do. But interestingly enough, in the years before this was a requirement, Coca-Cola machines kill more people than sharks. So you can see that really shark attack is unusual, it's rare, and numerically insignificant unless you happen to be one of the victims. Next slide. So just a few more stats. This is what our diving community might expect. There's been 197 attacks on divers since diving was a recorded activity. And boating accidents, you get more like 2,000 a year with some fatalities. In shark accidents, you get maybe 30 a year with less than one. Next slide. So what can we say about shark attacks? Well, what I can say is you can look at the wounds. Now, the wounds come in several flavors. You have a wound where the shark simply bumps the human. You have a wound where you get a lesion or a cut with no flesh removed. You have a wound that's worse than that, And then you have sharks that occasionally consume people. They actually kill and consume them. So, about the basic drives and motivations, I don't think anybody was ever killed by a shark for having sex with a shark. So we can cross that one off. Now, food. There are species that actually will consider a shark as a legitimate prey. Species with large sharks with broad feeding ecology and the ability, the mechanisms to actually bite and consume people. But these are very few, perhaps great white sharks, tiger sharks, perhaps oceanic whitetips, which I consider to be among the dangerous species of sharks, but in the perspective that tens of thousands of people have dived safely with oceanic whites. Fear, certainly. If you were to hold my head underwater, I would bite you. So when you drag a shark out of the water, you can expect to be bitten. And in fact, I once was bitten, but that's because I'm getting old and my reflexes aren't that good. But 2 years ago, after 48 years in the work, I did get bitten by a lemon shark. And of course, there's the question of aggression, agonism, and resource protection. And I truly believe, as a behaviorist, that sharks do act in certain ways to protect their resources. They're not actually territorial, but they look at you as a competitive predator. And I don't know that this is true. I don't really know that they look at you like that, but I do know that they will try to exclude divers from their area, and it looks like they're protecting their resources. Particularly gray and Caribbean reef sharks do this. Next slide. So, what can we do with some of the statistics? Collecting statistics is not scientific research. You collect statistics to ask a question and to get insight into how you could test to see if your hypothesis, say the hypothesis in this case, here we see number of shark attacks and time of day, and Sir Victor Copleston noted that there was this bimodal curve suggesting that sharks do not feed during the afternoon hours. And that's why bathers are not attacked. Well, is this true? How could we go about testing this? Well, I could look at these same data and say, oh no, the problem is most people leave the water at noon to have lunch, so there's not as many victims. Statistics, just collecting the data, cannot tell us the cause of any such shark attack. Here's another example. Sir Victor said that most sharks living in warm water, you have more sharks in warm water, you'll have more attacks. And the attacks fall off at 18 degrees. Well, we know that great white sharks will attack people in water 5, 6, 10 degrees. But we also know that people don't like to swim in cold waters. So you might expect that when the water is 28 degrees, you have more potential encounters. And here's a nice one, reported shark attacks in the years. And in the years 1959 to 65, the shark attacks were far greater. Now, why is this? Was it because the sharks learned to eat people, like they say the oceanic whitetip was going to learn to eat people? No. In 1959, the U.S. Navy gave funds to study shark attacks, and so there was money to look into the literature, and then they rescinded the money in 65, and we have this continuing curve upwards. What does that curve mean? Next slide. Just one other point. Statistics will tell you not to buy either of these cars. If you buy them, you're likely to predispose yourself to shark attacks. Why is that? Because on average, a shark victim will either drive a Toyota or a Volkswagen, and this, of course, is not, this is maybe a correlation, but it certainly is not causal. It's simply a population statistic.